you've got that one person and they're just not performing, they're just not giving what it is that you're wanting them to give. In this video, I'm going to give you the 5 steps that you need to be taking to fix underperformance or deal with it for good. Hello, my name is Jenefer. I'm the founder of Silk Helix, and we help small businesses with all things HR, employment law and people management. And in this video, I'm going to talk through the exact steps that you need to deal with an underperforming member of your team. When you've got somebody who isn't meeting your expectations, the very first thing you need to do is check yourself. Check your expectations. Have you communicated them clearly, or do you believe you've communicated them clearly? Should they have known what it is that you expected? How should they have known? Is this something that you just had in your mind and hadn't really told them about, or you just thought this was common knowledge? Or is it something you've explicitly been really clear about? So that would be my first thing. You can then go into a conversation with them. In that conversation, you can be talking about either the really clear expectations that you thought you'd set, or that perhaps they weren't as clear as you thought, and therefore you need to start again and reset those expectations and make sure they're really clear on them. But you most certainly want to be asking their input at this point. Did they think the expectations were clear? Did they know what was expected of them? And if they did, can they clearly say why they haven't met them? What it is that's causing the problem that's led to where you are and having this conversation? It's only by having this open conversation you're going to be able to put in place anything that could possibly solve it, by trying to understand what's going wrong. And bear in mind, the solution might not be the one you're thinking about. It might not be just try harder. There might be things that can be put in place that make things easier and make this person perform better than they have been, which is exactly what it is that you're trying to achieve. So when you've had that conversation and you've made sure that as a result of that conversation, they are really clear on what it is that's expected of them, make sure they can relay it back to you in a way that is clear to you, that they know and understand what it is that is expected. Make sure that you've understood why, and then put in place anything you can to support the performance to improve. This could be different tools, different resources, it could be some training, it could be some coaching. Whatever it is going to depend on the reason. Often there are fairly simple things that can be done that just change slightly ways of working, or put in some extra training for somebody that allows performance to get back to where it needs to be. Or it could be that there's been a dip because of something going on at home. Perhaps you don't need to put something in place, but they need a bit of grace for a few weeks and then things will recover. It's going to really depend on the exact situation, but you need to be making sure that you are putting in place whatever it is that they need in order to perform. And if they're asking for adjustments that can help them perform, then as long as they're reasonable, why would you not give them? Because ultimately getting this person performing is going to be better for your business than losing them and having to recruit and find somebody else. In most situations, this is going to work. Being really clear on the expectations, putting in place things that help them, support them, and then feeling able to talk at work openly, be authentic, talk about themselves, be able to talk about the challenges they're facing and with a view to finding solutions for them. All of that is going to, in most cases, solve the performance problem, especially if you've nipped it in the bud early. It becomes much harder. The longer you leave it, the longer you take to deal with it, the much harder it is to be able to solve the situation. And if we do get to a situation which can't be solved, where this informal process isn't working, hopefully we will have made notes of this process and what we've done and the conversations we've had and what we've put in place. We may then need to go into a more formal process. And the reason it has to be formal at this stage is potentially we're looking at dismissing somebody because they really are not performing to the level that's needed. And if you're a small business, this can be really impactful on your whole business if somebody just isn't meeting what you need. So considering whether you really want to be carrying somebody who isn't able to or willing to meet the performance expectations is really important, because it is a case of you're either carrying them or you're supporting them to improve, or we're saying, actually, you're not working in this business and we need to move you on because we need to get somebody in who is going to perform properly and at the levels that we need. And that is going to be that formal process that's going to potentially get to a dismissal. So at this point, we may be formally inviting them into a meeting where we discuss the performance and where the potential outcome of that is a disciplinary warning. I do recommend before you get to that stage that you take some advice. Either come and work with us and we can support you through it, or we've got a digital course on performance management which will take you through all of the steps. All of the details are in the description below. So the 5 steps that you're going to need when you've got an underperforming employee are firstly to check yourself. Make sure that you set your expectations really clearly and that they understood them. Make sure that you're then asking why. Why are they not performing? What's getting in the way? What's stopping them from performing? Then agree solutions. Talk together, work out what it is that could get over the hurdles and get this person back to a point where they're performing, and agree a strategy going forward. If you get that agreement and if they've put the suggestions forward, they're far more likely to take on board and improve the performance. Make sure you put in place the things you've agreed and do it quickly. This shouldn't just be a meeting that then goes on the back burner because you're busy. This needs to be a priority. If not, you're just carrying somebody who's not performing. You need to get this solved. So get in place the things that you've agreed and make sure that there's a review time as well to review whether or not they're working. And if you get to a point where that's still not working, you've not been able to solve it, then our 5th point is to go into the formal process, which is to formally invite them to a meeting at which you discuss their performance. They will get likely a formal warning, assuming that you've followed all the right process and there is nothing else that can be done. You may well get to a formal warning, and at that point you're getting a performance improvement plan coming out of that that they'll need to follow in order to avoid getting to the next level of warning and potentially a dismissal. In most situations, we can solve it in those first 4 steps of getting things just really clear and agreed and getting solutions in place. If you are facing an underperforming employee, or you just want to solve things before they even happen, get on our digital course, Performance Management, or work with us. We can advise you, handhold you, take you through the whole process. All the details are in the description below. In the meantime, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a single video.